This person says, I was suspended from the state bar for something that happened 10 years ago. I have otherwise stellar qualifications. We see otherwise federal clerks from top 10 firm. When they Google me, the suspension comes up. How should I handle interviews? You see, sometimes they Google after the interview and I get turned down when I expect an offer. Okay, that's a good question. The first thing you need to do is called reverse SEO. So all that means is when you have to learn about that. There are companies, there are reputation, and those companies that do that. But essentially, all that means is you create a ton of social media profiles. You have profiles, you write a blog, and then you have all that information point towards each other, meaning you point blog articles towards your social media profiles, you point your social media profiles towards your blog, all these different things. And what'll happen over time, not much time, is that stuff will come up first. And you get it off the first page, you're going to be fine. So that's how people do it. You definitely need to do reverse SEO. This is something I know people that have gotten DUIs, and I know people fired. I know people that have had articles run about them that they were only fans or whatever it's called and things like that. So you just need to make sure that you get that information down. The only way to do it is reverse SEO. You can find people that can do this and people that can do this and so forth. That's it. Once you do that, you should be fine and you can get the stuff off the first page. Now I do want to give you some bad news. I'm trying to be mean here, but you have to understand this from the employer's point of view. They have two choices. One is to hire you with your background, with your bad background, with your bad background. And the other is to hire someone else. That's their problem. So that's their issue. That's the problem. If you were someone and you had a bunch of applicants, what would you do? I was hiring someone to work for me as an assistant once. And I interviewed 5 people for the job. There wasn't that many. One person showed up and she was drunk. And she was actually Woody Harrelson's assistant at the time, or one of his, he had multiple ones, and that did not go well. Another guy showed up and there was this break in his resume, and I kept asking about it. And he told me that he'd stolen from his former employer in prison. Just so, and so obviously I didn't hire those people. I hired someone that didn't have anything in their background. You just have to get that stuff off your resume, off the Google. Now, if that's not enough, then you have to be very clear about what's wrong with you and the problem. So I had a very interesting thing happen once. I hired this recruiter. He's no longer alive, so I'm not unhappy breaking his confidence. His name was Brian Siegel. He worked for me for over 20 years. He recently passed away, but he wrote Siegel's Law Outlines and all sorts of things. And he went to Columbia Law School. He's just a great guy. And so I was in the process of hiring him, and he said, thank you, but there's one thing I need to talk to you about before we go through with this. He says, I was suspended from the bar. I was about ready to get, what did you say? What is it called when you're not suspended? I don't know, kicked out of the bar, whatever that is. And my license, what I had done was I had taken not the bar, but similar to the baby bar for one of my students. And because he was teaching how to get past the bar, and I was fired, I was caught. And I just said, I love the guy. And I said, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. And he ended up working with me for over 20 years. But that was something that was decades in his past. And it wasn't something I was concerned about anymore. So what does that mean? That just means that you need to be very careful. You can act if you need to answer this question, you can. But unfortunately, if it comes up at the beginning of the interview process before you get an offer, it's going to be very hard. I hope that helps and it helps you understand everything.